There are more than 100,000 people in this country waiting for a kidney transplant, and the median wait time is more than 3 years. A Nobel Prize-winning economist has a unique solution: kidney transplant chains. It starts with a donor giving to a stranger with nothing guaranteed in return, and the momentum builds from there. Paul Salman has the story of 2 donors who volunteered to start a chain, saving multiple lives. Part of our weekly series, Making Sense.
Emotionally, I'm feeling a little bit anxious.
Knock, knock. Good morning.
Hello.
That was Barbara Sine back in October, minutes before surgery at St. Barnabas Medical Center in New Jersey.
Scary.
Sine, a 53-year-old mother of 2, works at a prep school, teaches spin classes on the side, is healthy as a horse. Her operation was 100% elective, and yet life-saving. It was all due to a story on NPR.
I actually brought my husband in the car, and I made him listen to that podcast and that interview. And I said, I have to do this. And it still, to this day, gets me very emotional.
So that was you?
On the Freakonomics broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out Barbara Sine and those like her are key players in a medical revolution. And economics Nobel laureate Alvin Roth deserves much of the credit. As a market expert, he'd been puzzling over how to increase the number of kidney transplants. Dialysis keeps patients alive while they wait, usually years, for a deceased donor kidney. Or if they're lucky, a kidney from a living donor who's a good biological match. And then Al Ross says he heard about 2 spouses chatting in the waiting room of a dialysis clinic.
Why are you here? I'm waiting for my husband. I would give him my kidney, but he has blood type B and I have blood type A. And, oh, it's a funny thing. We're just the reverse.
So the wife with blood type A gave one of her 2 kidneys, we can live with just one, to the other spouse, and her blood type B husband got a kidney from the person she'd met in the waiting room. But Roth saw a way to go beyond 2 couples swapping 2 kidneys by using computer algorithms to create donor-recipient chains, matched for blood and tissue type, even for age. One problem, though, everyone needing a kidney also needed a partner to donate a kidney to another pair. A second problem, all the operations had to happen simultaneously.
Just to make sure that no link is broken. What wouldn't be good is if you give a kidney to my brother today, and tomorrow, for whatever reason, I fail to give a kidney to your sister. You had a surgery that didn't help your sister, and you can't take part in the next kidney exchange because you no longer have a kidney to exchange. You've already given yours.
And that created a logistical logjam.
What that means is that if you want to do even that simple exchange, you need 4 operating rooms and 4 surgical teams to be available at the same time. To do a 3-way exchange, you'd need 6 operating rooms. To do a 4-way exchange, you'd need 8 operating rooms.
There was, however, a solution.
It turns out there are a couple of hundred people a year in the United States who want to give a kidney to someone who don't have a particular patient in mind. We've learned how to use them to start chains of transplants where they give to a patient-donor pair, and the donor in that pair gives to someone else, who gives to someone else. And each pair gets a kidney before they give one. Because if I fail to give a kidney, the patient I was supposed to give a kidney to will be very disappointed. But their donor will still have his or her kidney, so they can wait for the next opportunity.
And all this because of just one non-directed donor like Barbara Sine.
I think prior to this, if I had known someone who needed a kidney, I'm sure I would have stepped up. But I don't know anybody, so I can just kind of throw it up there to fate and let it land where it may.
What's different about you? I mean, it's so unusual to have someone altruistically give a kidney.
I'm a hospice volunteer, I foster animals, so I think this is kind of a continuation, maybe at a different level.
26-year-old Eric Willano gives blood regularly.
Actually just finished up my 4th gallon.
Takes a homeless man he's befriended to lunch.
And we go to Five Guys sometimes.
Willano, too, is a non-directed kidney donor.
So about a year and a month ago, I went to a charity organ donation gala type thing. And I turned to my parents and I was like, kidney donation, I could do that.
And they said?
You're crazy and probably a little bit drunk. What if, God forbid, something happens to my other kidney down the road? And then a month later, I was in St. Barnabas.
Undergoing rigorous physical and psychological evaluation. He was cleared to donate, gave a kidney in April. But to whom? As the months passed,
I was in a little bit of a funk. It was like, why am I a little bit sadder today? What am I missing?
Because it was a feeling of irresolution or not having been
That's perfect.
acknowledged.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
And you weren't getting anything
And I
back.
didn't get anything back.
No wonder that of the 1,000 or so people who contact St. Barnabas each year about living donation, only 1% are would-be non-directed donors. And only half of those are approved, says clinical director Marie Morgevich.
They want to help another person because they're good people, but maybe it's just not the right time for them to come forward.
Meanwhile, the waiting list for cadaver kidneys, 2,500 people at St. Barnabas alone, 100,000 or more nationwide, keeps growing faster than deceased donor organs come in.
We'll do approximately 170 deceased donor kidney transplants, but we'll add 400 or more candidates to that list. So we know that we're in a losing battle.
My hope was down here, and every day was darker and darker.
39-year-old Rosario Davi was on dialysis for over a year.
I could do 10% of what I used to do physically. Mentally, that demon's on your shoulder the whole time through this process.
But last April, Eric Wolano sent Davi's demon packing.
It's an angel on earth. I don't know what else to say. We can hug some more.
And in December, Wolano finally did get something back when he was allowed to meet his kidney's new owner and the entire transplant chain his gift had set in motion.
It's just so unfathomable that you would go through this process of having the surgery and the recovery time for a complete stranger.
But after Rosario got Eric's kidney, his wife Tara also gave to a complete stranger, Michael Dunn in California.
You're such a blessing to do what you did, sacrifice the way you did, and I'm very grateful.
Michael's wife Sandy gave a kidney to Eduard Cardenas Rios.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very well.
Yeah.
Yes, I was on dialysis for 7 years. And,
oh my God. Wow. To be able to give it to someone that needed it so bad, it just makes me really happy.
Can I just say something to her?
Eduard's sister, Inez.
He has a life to look forward to now, and it just means everything to me and my family. I just wanted you to know that.
Inez Cardenas Rios donated a kidney that's keeping Leo Lunny alive.
And I'm the biggest person in the room and the most emotional, so. Thank you so much.
His brother Richard had agreed to donate a kidney on Leo's behalf. It went to Leslie Naples.
It's working great.
I'm glad.
Leslie has had kidney disease for 23 years.
I want to say that I love you because I do.
I love you too.
One more hug, Francis. I love you too. I'm Leslie's husband, Rick.
Rick Naples donated a kidney, ending the chain, to perhaps the luckiest recipient of all, Sharon Block of California.
Oh, you're so welcome.
With a hard-to-match blood type and no one to donate on her behalf, she's been on dialysis and deceased donor waiting lists for years.
My son's 8 years old, and I kept promising him I will eventually get a kidney, and you'll see a different mom. I mean, I even flew here one time because there was a kidney, got to the airport here, and turned around and went back because it fell through, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so when this happened, it was like
a miracle.
It was, yeah.
Well, Eric, just take a look and look what you've created. All of these people's lives have been changed.
Bigger family. I'm going to take this picture from today and I'm going to put that up. That's going to be the trophy case now.
Meanwhile, Barbara Sine has yet to meet her recipient.
I know that a man about my age got my kidney, and I do know that his wife was scheduled to donate I think the following week. And that's about all I know.
Would you be more and more happy as a function of whether or not more and more people were in your chain?
Well, yes. I mean, I think the more people who are helped, the better. The idea that I can help 10, 15, who knows?
And bottom line, that's what makes this tearjerker an economics lesson as well.
Altruism seems to respond to some of the same economic incentives that other goods do. If you can do more good with $1, you're more likely to give a second $1.
Okay, you can't give a second kidney, but you sure can do a world of good giving just one. This is economics correspondent Paul Salmon reporting from New Jersey.